What is DOCTYPE? DOCTYPE is a declaration that tells the browser what type of HTML document it is dealing with. It is not an HTML tag, but an instruction that must be placed at the very beginning of an HTML document. There are different types of DOCTYPE declarations for different versions of HTML and XHTML. Each declaration specifies a document type definition, DTD, that defines the rules and syntax for the markup language. What is the minimum number of HTML5 tags that are required to create a web page? Minimum 3 HTML5 tags are required to create a web page, such as head, body, HTML. What is HTML5? What are some of its new features that were not present in HTML? HTML5 is the latest version of HTML. It is designed to improve the functionality, accessibility, and performance of web content, as well as to support multimedia and complex web applications. HTML5 is also backward compatible with older browsers. New features in HTML5: video and audio elements. Semantic elements such as header, footer, nav, article, section, aside, figure, fig caption, etc. Canvas and SVG elements to draw graphics, shapes, animations. New input types and attributes such as email, date, number, range, color, URL, etc., and new attributes such as placeholder, required, pattern, autocomplete, etc. Local storage to store data locally on the user's browser without using cookies. What is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML is the use of HTML tags to effectively describe the purpose of page elements, rather than just their appearance or layout. Semantic HTML helps web browsers, search engines, assistive technologies, and human developers understand the meaning and structure of a web page. For example, a p tag indicates that the enclosed text is a paragraph, a nav tag indicates that the enclosed elements are for navigation, and a table tag indicates that the enclosed elements are for displaying tabular data. Semantic HTML also makes it easier to apply CSS styles and improve accessibility. What are the different media types and formats supported by HTML? HTML supports a wide range of media types and formats for sound, music, videos, movies, and animations. Below is the list of extensions supported by each media format. Image formats. HTML supports the following image formats: JPEG, .jpg, .jpeg, PNG, .png, GIF, .gif, SVG, .svg, WebP, .web, and AVIF, .avif. These formats have different characteristics such as compression, transparency, animation, and scalability. Audio formats. HTML supports the following audio formats: MP3, .mp3, WAV, OGG, .ogg, AAC, and FLAC, .FLAC. These formats have different qualities such as bitrate, sampling rate, channels, and losslessness. Video formats. HTML supports the following video formats: MP4, .mp4, WEBM, .webm, OGG, .ogg, and AVI, These formats have different codecs, such as H.264, VP8, VP9, Theora, and DivX. What is an empty element? An empty element is a component that doesn't have any embedded elements or text elements. Empty elements do not have successor nodes. In other words, the tags that do not contain any closing tags are empty tags. Empty tags contain only the opening tag, but they perform some action in the web page. Some examples of empty elements are img, br, meta, link, input. What is the difference between a block-level element and an inline element? A block-level element and an inline element are different in how they are displayed and how they affect the layout of a web page. Here are some of the main differences. A block-level element always starts on a new line and takes up the full width available, while an inline element does not start on a new line and only takes up as much width as necessary. A block-level element can have top and bottom margins, while an inline element can only have left and right margins. A block-level element can contain other block-level or inline elements, while an inline element cannot contain block-level elements. Examples: block-level elements are p tag, div tag, h1 tag, to h6 tag, ul tag, ol tag, table tag, etc. Inline elements are span tag, a tag, img tag, input tag, b tag, I tag, etc. What is image map in HTML5? An image map in HTML5 is a way of creating clickable areas on an image that can link to different web pages or sections of the same page. It is useful for creating interactive and responsive images that can enhance the user experience and navigation. To create an image map in HTML5, you need to use the following elements: the img element to insert the image and specify the useMap attribute that refers to the name of the image map, the map element to define the image map and give it a name using the name attribute. The name must match the value of the useMap attribute in the img element. The area element to define the clickable areas within the image map. Each area can have a shape, chords, ref, and alt attribute to specify its geometry, coordinates, destination, and alternative text. What is a marquee? A marquee in HTML is a non-standard element that creates a scrolling text or image on a web page. It can scroll horizontally or vertically, and can have different attributes to control its speed, direction, behavior, and appearance. However, the marquee element is deprecated and not recommended to use, as it has usability and accessibility problems. It is also not supported by all browsers and may not work as expected. Instead of using the marquee element, you can use CSS animations or JavaScript to create similar effects. What is the difference between progress and meter tag? The progress tag is used to represent the progress of a task, such as a file upload or a quiz completion, while the meter tag is used to represent a scalar measurement within a known range, such as a disk usage or a temperature. The progress tag has two attributes, value and max, which indicate the current and maximum values of the task. The meter tag has 6 attributes, value, min, max, low, high, and optimum, which indicate the current, minimum, maximum, low, high, and optimal values of the measurement. The progress tag can only have a horizontal orientation, while the meter tag can have either a horizontal or a vertical orientation depending on the browser. The progress tag does not have a default appearance, while the meter tag has a default appearance that varies across browsers. What is the use of figure tag in HTML5? The figure tag in HTML5 is used to mark up self-contained content, such as illustrations, diagrams, photos, code listings, etc. The content of the figure tag is related to the main flow of the document, but its position is independent of the main flow, and if removed it should not affect the flow of the document. The figure tag can have an optional fig caption tag inside it, which is used to add a caption or a legend for the figure. The fig caption tag can be placed before or after the figure content. What does an HTML5 web worker do? An HTML5 web worker is a feature that allows a web page to run a JavaScript code in a background thread, without affecting the performance or responsiveness of the user interface. A web worker can perform tasks that are computationally intensive, time-consuming, or asynchronous, such as fetching data from a server, processing large arrays, or performing complex calculations. A web worker is created using a constructor that takes the name of a JavaScript file as an argument. The JavaScript file contains the code that will run in the worker thread. The web worker and the main thread can communicate with each other by sending and receiving messages using the post message method and the onMessage event handler. There are 2 types of web workers: dedicated workers and shared workers. A dedicated worker is only accessible by the script that created it, while a shared worker can be accessed by multiple scripts from different windows or tabs. How to specify the metadata in HTML5? To specify the metadata in HTML5, you need to use the meta tag inside the head element of your document. The meta tag can have different attributes to define different kinds of metadata, such as charset. This attribute specifies the character encoding for the HTML document. For example, meta charset equals UTF-8. Name. This attribute specifies a name for the metadata. It can have different values, such as description, keywords, author, viewport, etc. For example, meta name equals description content equals this is a web page about HTML5 content. This attribute specifies the value associated with the name or HTTP equiv attribute. It can be a text, a URL, a number, etc. For example, meta name equals keywords content equals HTML5 meta tag. HTTP equiv. This attribute provides an HTTP header for the information/value of the content attribute. It can have different values, such as content type, refresh, default style, etc. For example, meta HTTP equiv equals refresh content equals 30. What is the difference between SVG and Canvas HTML5 elements? SVG is a markup language for vector graphics, while Canvas is a JavaScript drawing API for raster graphics. SVG is XML-based, which means that every element is available within the SVG DOM. You can attach JavaScript event handlers for an element. In SVG, each drawn shape is remembered as an object. If attributes of an SVG object are changed, the browser can automatically re-render the shape. Canvas is rendered pixel by pixel. In Canvas, once the graphic is drawn, it is forgotten by the browser. If its position should be changed, the entire scene needs to be redrawn, including any objects that might have been covered by the graphic. SVG has better scalability. It can be printed with high quality at any resolution. Canvas has poor scalability. It is not suitable for printing on higher resolution. SVG gives better performance with smaller number of objects or larger surface. Canvas gives better performance with smaller surface or larger number of objects. SVG can be modified through script and CSS. Canvas can be modified through script only. SVG can have multiple graphical elements, which become the part of the page's DOM tree. Canvas has a single element similar to IMG in behavior. What are the custom attributes in HTML5? Custom attributes in HTML5 are attributes that are not part of the standard HTML5 attributes but are explicitly created by the developer. They allow us to add our own information to HTML elements, which can be used for styling, scripting, or storing data. Custom attributes are also known as data attributes, and they have the following format: data-star equals value. The star can be replaced by any name that is meaningful for the developer, such as date name, data ID, data color, etc. The value can be any string that represents the data to be stored. What is the difference between local storage and session storage objects? Local storage stores data with no expiration date, while session storage stores data for one session only. Local storage persists data across different sessions, tabs, and windows of the same origin, same protocol, domain, and port. The data is not deleted unless the user manually clears the browser cache or the web page removes it. Local storage can store up to 10 megabytes of data per origin. Session storage persists data only for the duration of the current session, which ends when the tab or window is closed. The data is not shared across different tabs or windows of the same origin. Session storage can store up to 5 megabytes of data per origin. What is the difference between local storage and cookie? Local storage stores data with no expiration date, while cookie stores data that can expire at a specific time or when the browser is closed. Local storage can store more data, up to 10 megabytes, than cookie, up to 4 kilobytes, and it can store any type of JavaScript object, while cookie can only store strings. Local storage does not send data to the server with each request, while cookie does. Local storage is more suitable for storing large amounts of data that needs to persist between visits to a website, while cookie is more suitable for storing small amounts of data and for tracking user behavior. What is HTTP-only cookie? An HTTP-only cookie is a type of cookie that is not accessible by client-side scripts, such as JavaScript. This means that the cookie can only be read or modified by the server that created it, and not by any malicious script that may try to steal or tamper with it. HTTP-only cookies are useful for preventing cross-site scripting (XSS) attacks, which are a common way of exploiting web applications by injecting malicious code into web pages. What is ARIA attribute in HTML5? ARIA stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications. It is a set of attributes that you can add to HTML elements to make them more accessible to users with disabilities who use assistive technologies, such as screen readers, speech recognition software, or keyboard navigation. ARIA can help you provide semantic information, keyboard navigation, live updates, and interactive widgets that are not available in native HTML. What happens if we wrote more than one HTML tag in a single HTML file? If you write more than one HTML tag in a single HTML file, you will create an invalid HTML document that may not be displayed correctly by the browsers. HTML documents can only have one HTML, one head, and one body tag. These tags define the structure and content of the web page, and they cannot be repeated or nested inside each other. Writing more than one HTML tag in a single HTML file can cause various problems, such as confusing the browser about which HTML tag to use as the root element of the document, breaking the layout and style of the web page, as the browser may ignore or misinterpret the elements inside the extra HTML tags, causing errors or conflicts in the scripts and style sheets that are linked or embedded in the head tags. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more interview questions and answers.